Greetings, YouTube. Today I'd like to talk about a fantasy name generating site. Now, I don't think I've talked about this video place site before because, well, I'll be honest, I'm not the best at keeping things organized in my head, and even my file file folders holding videos are not the best when it comes to being organized. You'll be shocked at that, seeing the room behind me. Um, but it's still a cool site, so maybe people have not heard of it. So I'm pretty safe here talking to gamers about sites that let you do find fantasy names, because we always need that kind of stuff now, don't we? Now it is fantasynamegenerators.com, and that's plural, an S, generators. And it's a pretty straightforward layout. We have the main categories of fantasy and folklore, real names, places and locations, other names, pop culture, uh, discrimination generators, other generators, contact and support. You get that. Um, and there actually are updates here that say like when things were added and stuff like that. So I'm just going to go to fantasy and folklore, and you get an unbelievably large list of options for fantasies and folklores. I mean, it's a lot. All right, it is just astounding how many things are on this list. Uh, so let's just kind of like just, here we go. Persona names. Let's look up a persona name. I click on persona names, and we go to the bottom, and it gives you a random list of pre-generated stuff. And if you click on specifics like get male names, get neutral names, and get female names, gives them a little bit more specific. And so again, this is a lot of word salad thrown together, but some of them are giving you both first and last names, and some of them are pretty good, like Riverheart Smoothclaw. I kind of like that persona. That Smoothclaw is a good one. Faint Crest, that would be good for a lizard of some variety or a dragon type. Strong Fennec, that's a pretty good one. Cinderhoof. Now, Cinderhoof, I like Cinderhoof. Um, a Curvy Howl. A Curvy Howl. Okay, that makes me smile. Um, that seems like more than just a persona name. Um, mutant species names. Ooh, I do love a good mutant species. There we got the Quadrupeds. That sounds like a good band name. The Serpumans, which is obviously a serpent race. The Burdened. Ooh, that's good. The Irregularities. That's a good name for a adventuring group. The Athrotites. Bihibarias. That one, it's scratching an itch in my head, but I'm not getting the reference. The Deuterians. I'm going to click on the button again, and we get another one. The Four-Legged, that's be a good name for an organization of mutant animals that have mutations but are still non-anthropomorphic. The New Men, ooh, the New Men, I like that one. Under Gamma World, they were called the New Humans. So that's a more generic. New Men in kind of gendered, but the New Humans, I always like that name. The Kruskies, Crus, Kruskies, I don't know. We have the Freaks. I like that one. The Lost Ones, the Dwellers, the Finns, with one N. Though I suppose you could have the Fins. There's no reason you couldn't have like Finnish dolphins, I suppose, or whales. The Vlahoratas. Again, that's like I know that's a like category of some kind of an animal being a reference, but it's not ringing a bell. We have ogre names. Let's look at some ogre names. Becker's a good. Ecor, Vage. I like Vage. Yerog. I remember I think it was a hill giant actually, and his name was Gundahar. I loved Gundahar. He had been like the main heavy of a mage, and the mage had taught him some very important lessons when it came to life. That, for example, it is better to rob someone and let them live rather than just murder them, because if you rob them and let them live, you can rob them again. And after learning this valuable lesson, he felt, the hill giant felt that, maybe he shouldn't let this valuable knowledge be shared by anyone else. So he killed the mage and went into business for himself as the head of a gang of ogres and hill giants living in the mountains, and he would just waylay people and rob them. And that's how the player characters met him. They got robbed by Gundahar. He stripped them of pretty much everything they owned and then sent them on their way, because he was believing firmly in the idea that, again, it's better to rob and let them live so you can rob them again. But yeah, you get the point. This is a site that has just an unbelievable number of naming option here. Here we have one, superhero names. What are our superhero name options? Okay, we got the infamous scout, the confident warrior. Okay, that's funny. The fire gladiator, the black lynx. Ooh, black lynx, that's a good one. The golden cricket. That sounds like something out of Marvel. The electric scimitar, Agent Light Robin, Lord Purple Enchanter, Saberleaf. Well, that sounds kind of cool, like a plant-based creature with that's black. That'd be kind of cool. The hunter. That's not at all that. The magnificent jackal, the magnificent hammer, the scarlet beetle, Warden Merciful Armadillo. Oh wow, Warden Merciful Armadillo. There's a story there. The unarmed grasshopper. Okay. Dr. Wisefighter. One guy just named Armed. Does he have just the 2 arms? And he just wants to reiterate that, or does he have more than 2 arms? Then we have the Amethyst Heart. Amethyst Heart, that's not a bad one. Amethyst Heart, you can kind of work with that one. Like I said, you get the point. It's got all kinds of different naming options, and again, it is fantasygenerators.com. I don't think I need to give you a link for that one. You can probably figure it out yourself. But very handy, and again has real names in case you're doing like a contemporary real world kind of a game. That we have again other names and pop culture, places and locations, all things that everybody who is either a GM or a player is going to need in a pinch when they need a name and they haven't thought of one. Because, let's face it, who of us has not found themselves in a pinch without a name? Yeah. I remember back before the internet was ubiquitous. The internet had become kind of ubiquitous at that point, but Wi-Fi hadn't existed yet. So you didn't have generators at your table. So I had found a list of essentially random names, very similar to this, and it was like, I don't know, 10 pages, and I printed it out. I had that in my GM's notebook so that when I needed a name, I could just flip to that and then just pick one and then, cross it out so it would be assigned to somebody else, to assign one to a specific individual. But this lets you do that on the fly because, again, at the time, Wi-Fi didn't exist. Back in the ancient primordial times of, back when we had to do things with paper books. Can you remember those days when you had to have paper books like the ones behind me and the ones next to me and the ones stacked in the corner? Yeah, I know, it's a mess. But yeah, here's names. If you have a favorite naming site, I'd love to hear about it because I would like to be able to share those kind of things with folks. And if it's a good site, I'll put it in the notes below so people can get a link to it more directly without having to search through the comments. That would be cool. Alrighty, so let's talk about name generation sites, and if we have any cool ones we like, and if we have any stories about back in the day before Wi-Fi and generating sites were a thing.